Hey, what's going on, guys? Killer Cat ABZ here, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. I believe this is episode 8. When we last left off, we were in this horrifyingly expansive cave. Realistically, I have no idea where we're at. It's going to take me a sec to get my bearings uh, about myself, but I apologize for the raspy voice. Um, Woke up today and just had otherworldly uh otherworldly pain in my throat. Drink a bunch of tea. I feel a lot better now. But you guys know how it is. It's not a fun time being sick, but I'm just trying to navigate it, and fingers crossed I'll be good to go in about 2 days. But so last time we were here, I know that, gosh dude, it is so difficult to determine where everything is. Your water, I wonder if it's something we found. Your water. We're absolutely gonna go for it after we grab all this. Hopefully with me talking, I mean, obviously it's quieter than I usually am, but I hope it's still audible. It looks fine on the actual sound levels, but a lot of times things can sound fine on the sound levels, but then you get to actually try and listen to it, and it's like, holy crap, I can't hear anything. I think this honestly might be the end of this cave. I can't really tell if it goes anywhere. I haven't heard any monsters. Uh, this is pointing down. Is this just a random little area? And again, okay, so I remember being down here, but realistically, I don't remember there being anything. It's a very cool cave, though. Just realizing I literally have the water bucket, so we can easily get across. Well, I say easily. Is that my water? I think so. Right, looks like there's nothing significant here, which is pretty sad. Now, I talked about this in one of the first few episodes, but one of my favorite things about this version of the game, actually the cobble texture. I remember when they decided to change the cobble texture, and I mean, part of it's nostalgia, of course, because it doesn't blend as well with the rest of the game. It's a very, I don't know, it stands out. This block definitely stands out, but we're gonna check it out. I don't know, the way it looks is just super appealing to me. I don't know, I couldn't put my finger on it specifically, but I do really like it. Really like it. Can't wait to find out that I missed like some massive amount of diamonds or something. But bear with me, guys. I'm trying to keep these, uh, at least make one of these a day, because once I go back to school next week, I'm not going to be able to make these. And it's not just that I won't be able to make them, but it's that. Oh, how about that? Is it just one? Oh, whoa, that's a bug and a half. It's not just that I won't be able to make them, because in theory I could, but the mic at school is significantly worse than the setup I have it, and I'm not bringing my entire rig to school. Like, obviously, I bring my main computer, and that's already hassle enough, and I bring one monitor. I don't have the second one. I don't have my mic that's on this stand. Like, there's a lot of things that I have to kind of tone down when it comes to moving to and from school. And even on smaller breaks, I don't bring pardon me. I do not bring much home. Like I don't bring my computer home on short breaks. I only bring it home on major ones, and it is what it is. Now, just because I feel like now it'd probably be as good of a time as any to try and leave this place, we are going to go up here and get out if we can, because I think we've explored what we've been able to. We've gotten 5 diamonds, you know, not terrible. On the arbitrary danger scale that we created, this cave is very low. There's been very few threats in this cave. I say that as we're chilling on low health, but being honest, like it's been a relatively calm experience, especially compared to that first cave we were at. Dear Lord, is that the stalagmite I made? It was. How about that? Evil staircase. Now, I've been kind of thinking for a while about getting into some heavier topics. But again, I need to be careful what I say because I have a tendency to overshare, right? Even in very minute, unmeaningful stuff, I will overshare things that don't need to be said. And I don't really want to make the same mistake online, obviously. But I do feel like talking about some heavier stuff. Oh, and now we have the nostalgia music itself backing it. But I think I've been watching this podcast called the Whatever Podcast, and you guys have probably seen it. Even if you don't know what it is, you've probably seen clips of it where this gentleman named Brian will have like these OnlyFans girls come on there, and he'll just like ask them questions, and they'll talk about things, a lot of it like really personal stuff. They'll talk about body counts, they'll talk about relationship experience, relationship ideals, how much money, you know, like a little bit more taboo stuff, but it's becoming increasingly, people are becoming increasingly open to talking about this stuff, right? And in this podcast, obviously, like I said, so he does have the OnlyFans chicks in it, and they have such a different worldview compared to like me, right? And now I think everyone would say the same thing. Everyone would love it if their worldview were the most commonly accepted one. But guys, when I tell you like these, it's not just the women, it's a lot of the guys that he gets on the show too, but these people are so vain. And vanity is such an interesting thing to me because it's something that I also struggle with, right? I can sit here and say like, oh, you know, I don't really struggle with vanity. I don't really struggle with, uh, you know, like looks and like money and that being my focus and my fixation. I absolutely struggle with that stuff, like without a shadow of a doubt, dude. And it's one of those things where that doesn't get immediately resolved, even if you were aware of it, right? I think number one, it starts with awareness. Number two, it starts with a willingness to change. But a lot of times in my life, I don't even have a willingness to change it. Like, I feel very caught up in the world, very, it's like my heart is set on the world, even though like I don't oh my goodness. Even though I don't objectively want to follow the ways of the world, it's like just what my heart naturally yearns for. Now, in my opinion, without preaching too much, to me, that just makes me even more sure that that's the human condition. And that's part of the original sin. But even from a secular standpoint, right? It's one of those things where what does vanity really do for us. And I guess I should kind of like give a definition of what vanity means. Um, Vanity to me is essentially a fixation or a focus on displays of wealth, displays of power, displays of attraction. Um, and I say fixation because obviously everyone, even with pure intentions, is going to think about these things. It's not only is it human nature, but it's like normal. Now, obviously, not everything that's normal is good, but when I say, it's normal, I think it's because we're supposed to care to an extent. If we had no care in the world about how we looked, we just went day by day looking like absolute slob like I do at the moment. But I'm sick, so I'll let it pass. But like an absolute slob, just really not taking good care of ourselves and stuff. That's not good. Our bodies are our temples. We're supposed to take care of what we have, and I say that, but having about 4 people's worth of buttered chicken last night was probably not taking care of my body, but man, did it taste good. But even something like that, something as small as eating way more food than you need to in order to like survive or live, right? Is that doing something in vain? Is there a vanity focus, right? It's an interesting question. Because in theory, one of the biggest issues with the modern society is everyone, and I mean everyone's uh, immediate instinct for certain things is to give in to what they want or what they feel, right? Like, do this if it makes you feel good. Do this if, you know, if you think it'll make you feel happier. And that's a term that gets thrown around a lot. Happiness, happier, joy, even though a lot of these people don't know what joy is. There is definitely a distinction there. Joy is, in essence, joy is an eternal or long lasting, uh, I don't quite want to say euphoria because too many people associate that with drugs, but it literally will bring your mind and your spirit and your soul to rest, to peace. Like you will chill and you can be like very content in the moment, but it literally feels like it's nurturing your soul. Happiness, in my eyes, is a temporary feeling of like a fake joy, right? What in the world did we branch out of? Oh my gosh. That is wild. Yeah, this is the cave that one time last episode I was like, look at this. Um but the distinction needs to be made between joy and happiness because so many people claim that they want to be happy. I don't think there's a soul on this earth that wants to be truly like miserable. Like there are people who subconsciously convince themselves that they deserve to be miserable, right? I don't think there's anyone who genuinely spawns in and they're like, yeah, I just want to make this day as bad as possible. I don't think that's a common thing. Certain people definitely will say things like that. I don't think they mean it. But it's interesting because the reason I demonstrated the disparity between conscious and subconscious longing for suffering, so many of us, myself included, will do the things that will keep them sad, that will keep them unfulfilled, that will keep them always searching for more, right? And it's just such an interesting like thing for me and to me that we're such complex creatures and yet we all have so many similarities that we all have shared experiences We all have things that inhibit our growth, and a lot of times it's the exact same things. Now, without getting too into it, again, trying to not be preachy, because I do want this to be approachable for anyone. I want this series to be like a chill time where we're just talking and whatever, but we're all focused on the short term. We're all focused on instant gratification. We're all focused on the easiest way to feel good. And it's going to be like TMI. But in general, right? First of all, this area is crazy. Second of all, if you are constantly searching for validation through things like your body, if you're constantly searching through things or for validation through other people, and whether that manifests as you doing actions you wouldn't normally do just to appease them, or whatever it might be, that's not good. You're not utilizing your gifts in a good, healthy way. You're not going about your life thinking like, what could I do, something that I want to do that would bring me closer to my true desires, right? So I went to this Christian conference last weekend, and one of the things that they talked about, it was a seminar on shame. Now shame is such an interesting term, because some people are like, oh, you shouldn't ever experience shame. Shame shouldn't be something that you should experience. Just live your life, do what you want. Don't feel shameful about it. Then there's the exact opposite side, the other extreme, which is I don't feel shame, or I feel shameful for my actions, and I need to experience that level of shame forever as a reminder of how much of a screw up I am. That's not good either, right? There's definitely a balance to this idea of shame, just as there is everything. We shouldn't let shame rule our lives, but I think shame exists as a reminder of when we falter. And whether that be falter spiritually, falter on our personal goals, maybe our morals, whatever it might be. Shame has a purpose. And I think it draws attention, it brings attention to the places where we have failed. For me, shame manifests in a lot of ways. I know when I was younger, I truly thought that at this point in my life, I'd have everything figured out. And, I think a lot of people have that idea, right? So I'm 21 now, but let's say going back to when I was 14, which when I was 14, let me do some math. That would have been 2014. So I was in 5th grade. No. Oh my gosh. Wait, I'm capping on the timeline. Hold on. I would have been 12. So 2016, I would have been 14. I would have been going into high school, right? I truly thought that I was going to be a computer science major. I would have graduated early because of all the AP and dual credit I took. I would have had a wonderful girlfriend, potentially fiance, potentially wife at this point. I would have had no debt because of how serious I took high school. And I would have been confident in myself, right? And those are all things that I truly, in my heart of hearts, believed I would have had. What actually happened is I went to surface level. There's a silver lining to this, but I went to the wrong school, the wrong college, for the first 3 semesters, which felt like a waste. It put me in significant financial distress and debt, and now that I'm out of that school and into my other one, things are much better. But if I had gone to the school I'm currently at as soon as it was my freshman year and I could have made the decision, yeah, I did the math, I would have had a completely full ride. I would have had a completely full ride. It wouldn't have been any big deal. I would have chilled. I would have met a lot of really amazing people earlier. It would have changed me for the better. But that's not what occurred. Don't have a girlfriend. Don't have a fiance. Definitely don't have a wife. That confidence isn't here. Right? Now, what do I blame this on? Number one, I think as a man, especially, you need to take charge of your life and recognize that when you fall or falter, it's probably, you need to look and evaluate if it was your mistakes that put you in that position. For me, to an extent, I think it absolutely was. Like, without question, I made life harder and worse on myself. I did. I absolutely did. And I don't want to say like that's okay, right? But it is most definitely something that I acknowledge and I take charge and recognize like, okay, this is of no one else's fault. This is of my own. I made that wrong decision to go to school, even if I could have had like more guidance by mentor and familial figures in my life. The relationships I was in, the ones that failed, you know, at first it's very easy to point fingers and be like, oh, you know, they didn't fully devote themselves to me, or they just stopped caring and didn't want to have that conversation for any of the relationships I was in. But realistically, there were things I could have done substantially better in all of them. And I think people don't really want to take charge in their lives nowadays. People don't want to ever feel like they did anything wrong, right? Which makes sense. Not saying it's a good thing, but it absolutely makes sense. You know, we don't want to feel like failures. We want to take the easy route. Because that's just how we're wired. That's just how it works. Excuse me. Now, it's annoying when you're someone like me who has an acute awareness of his problems, will make an attempt to address them, not fix them, but address them, yet always stop short. That's not an experience unique to myself. And again, guys, this is not me being like boohoo, like woe is me, right? I'm just kind of word vomiting right now, but there is an underlying point if you guys kind of understand where I'm getting at. Both music discs is really cool, by the way. I like that a lot. But there's a silver lining to everything. Again, I recognize the mistakes I've made. But mistakes are necessary for growth. So if we look at this one step at a time, me going to the improper university, the one I probably shouldn't have gone to because of financial, social, spiritual, like physical, every single issue that came from me going there, I wouldn't have met one of my best friends. At least well, we knew each other, but we wouldn't have become as close as we did. If I didn't go to that school, I wouldn't have realized the hole in my heart and the longingness and desire for a long-term companion in the way that I truly want one. There were just so many truths about myself that I just wouldn't have had an idea on. Had I not gone. And I'm so thankful I did go. So thankful, guys. You don't understand. Especially because when you have guys and girls at my university going like, oh, I hate it here, this place is terrible, XYZ, right? No. Like, you guys don't understand how nice our school is. It's all about perspective. It's all about experience. You know, you can take a look at the areas in your life that you're faltering in. But if you'd never had... But like, let's say you're relatively successful, but you're still failing, you're going to feel like a failure by your own metric because that's the rubric you're grading yourself on. But if you've been a failure your entire life and you continue to fail, and then eventually you experience some kind of success, that success is going to feel euphoric. That success can be life-changing, right? Um, but it's only because you have that perspective. That small and that success could be something as inconsequential as, oh, I don't know, like waking up when you want to, way earlier than you did prior, right? Or making your bed, or even brushing your teeth and flossing twice. Like those are things that people that feel the worst about themselves, that go through life always yearning for other people's company and validation and everything else. Those can be the small victories. And this is absolutely not me hating on those people, because I have been that person. Some days I am that person where the biggest victory for me is waking up earlier than I technically need to, or going to the gym, or making the conscious decision to put down my phone instead of using it, right? And talk to my family or friends. That can be the victory for the day. It truly can. Um, and so for me to not count my blessings, I'm doing a great disservice to the position that I'm in. A true disservice. So we count our blessings day by day. At least we should. And when we fail, when we mess up, when we don't measure up, what do we have to fall back on? And to be honest with you guys, that the answer to that for some people is very difficult to answer. Not because it's difficult, or not just because it's difficult to be introspective, but also because it's a hard thing to really pinpoint. It's a hard thing to nail down. We want to feel successful. We want to feel loved. We want to feel cherished. We want to feel respected. Everyone's of varying degrees. And even if someone says, no, I don't, or like, it doesn't really affect me, it does. It most certainly does, even if we don't want to recognize that. Um, but it all depends on how much. How much do you care? How much do you want to see change? This infuriates me. I still don't know what happens with that. And for some people, they may want it a little bit. And so they don't make the conscious effort, the conscious decision to do everything they can to get out of their current situation and better themselves. For others, it could be something as big as putting your all into it and falling short. And what do you do that? And that's kind of where I'm at. So again, I'm acutely aware of where I could and probably should be with the tools and the blessings given to me in my life. I'm aware of where I should be. I'm low key aware of how I could get there still. Yeah, for some reason I don't. I choose. It's a choice to not fully allow myself to get there. It's like, why, dude? Why do I hinder my personal progress and ambition so much? And for years, I've been trying to think of why. You guys, I figured it out. What happens if I do everything in my power? And I've talked to some people about this, very few people in my life, but I've talked to a few. What happens if I do everything in my power, everything I could possibly do to improve my life and do the things that I know I should be doing to get there, and I don't measure up? So for me personally, like the most important things in my life, um, finding God, or truly following him at least, because I know who God is. I'm acutely aware. But choosing to follow God, right? Living my life in a way that glorifies him, that doesn't glorify myself. Doing the things necessary, the things I should be doing anyways, um, for him rather than me. Becoming truly confident in myself. Becoming a more intelligent and well-rounded individual. You know, these are all things that I sincerely desire for myself, and I know that they'd be good things. And I low-key know the steps necessary to attain these things. For me, you know, reading the word more, surrounding myself with more Christ-focused people, being intentional about spending time with God and praying. We could have things like, am I fine with this being one wider? Actually, I think I am. I'm gonna make this another wider. Why don't I do these things? And I think to an extent, it could be seen as a form of self-sabotage. But why on God's green earth would I self-sabotage myself? Like, why? What would drive me to keep me in this semi-miserable state? I think it's because for me, if I put in all this effort and I don't get better, I do everything that I know I should be doing, and I still feel this way. What am I supposed to do at that point? Like, what do I do with this information? That, regardless of my best attempts at improving, at learning to love myself, at doing all these things, like, it's just not enough for me to get out of the the hole that I'm in. I don't know, you know? Then I guess you float. But at that point, that's kind of the eternal mark of a failure. Now, from a Christian perspective, some of the stuff I'm saying is low-key like a little sketchy. Reason being, number one, sometimes all the things I'm saying, none of them are bad things. Aspiring to be a better man and aspiring to be confident and all these things, that's not bad at all. But it's when it becomes a center of pride or ego, that's when it becomes a problem. And me, I don't think that I would become egotistical. Well, there's a chance. There have been periods in my life when I have gotten my crap together somewhat. When I was younger, like 6 years ago. No, that's a lie. Like 4 years ago. 3 years ago. Mostly 4. Right, I did have things together. And I did feel very confident in who I am. And there was a little bit of pride and ego attached to that. And I think different levels of pride can be destructive. I don't think, like, if you had pride in your family or your son, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But there's connotation to it. Are you prideful because, like, your son did something really freaking cool? He did great on his spelling bee, and now you're a proud dad, and you're just so happy that he did well on something. You're proud of someone else. That's not inherently a bad thing. But when you start placing your personal worth, when you start placing value on the different levels of pride or things that you can be prideful in, your height, your fame, your wealth, the amount of friends you have, right? That's when things become questionable. Now, really quick, guys, I'm going to put a wall in here. That's why these torches are spaced out by one. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do exactly. But the reason I did this is because I want more furnaces down here. Be a big smelting. But I think so many people are caught in this loop of like self-loathing, and not doing what they need to break out of that. And it's really sad to see. It's very sad to see. But I think we all do it to varying extents, right? Because I think right now I don't hate myself. Do I love myself? I'm not sure. And I think for most people that's something you're pretty concrete in. I would love to feel very assured in everything I do, but it's going to be a lifelong process, and you have to accept that. And it'll be easier for some people than others. And again, you have to accept that. Deal with the cards you're dealt. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But here we go. We're going back in the caves. I should probably make another set of armor. I don't know what kind of evil splitting I just did for that, but it was something. But back to the original topic. I think people are so vain right now because again, it's the quickest way to attain some kind of instant gratification. Dear Lord, y'all are stacked up on here. 2 for 2. That was sick. Gunpowder normally doesn't drop like that. Due to phones, social media, just society in general, not looking down on it, we all have become incredibly accustomed to doing whatever can bring us the most temporary fulfillment for the least amount of effort. And sitting down and contemplating your own thoughts and realizing like where you've fallen short as an individual does not give way to instant gratification. In fact, quite the opposite. It's a very difficult thing to talk about, to dissect mentally, especially in your own mind. Like, there was a study done, or like I guess an experiment, you could say, a social experiment. These men and women were locked in rooms by themselves for a period of time. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but I think it was 10 minutes. It wasn't super long. And they could either sit there, no phones allowed, no like any kind of external stimulation, no phones, books, music, anything, right? They had to sit in this room alone with their thoughts. The only thing that they could do is there was a button they could press that would shock them. Now, a small percentage of the women did it, like 20-something%, but like over 65% of the men pressed the button. That's essentially, you're pressing a button to self-harm. They pressed the button just so they could experience something. And a lot of them repeated it, especially once they knew what to expect. They just started doing it more and more. That is fascinating to me. And honestly, I've thought about like putting myself in those shoes and doing the same thing. Like, would I press the button? Honestly, eventually the curiosity would get me. It's better than sitting there being alone with your thoughts. But the truly scary thing about it, right? The number one cited reason as to why the people pushed the button when they did, especially the men, was because they said they didn't want to be alone with their thoughts. Now, when people say this, some people could say this, and it would be an immediate red flag. You'd think that maybe they were suicidal or there's something wrong with them. Well, I think for a lot of people nowadays, we're not used to wrestling with our own thoughts. We kind of navigate life with a veil over our eyes because we're constantly just allowing ourselves to be stimulated by something. I think something that not a lot of people realize is how dangerous music can be. You know, back in the day, you wanted to listen to music, you would go see a concert or listen to the radio in your house that your whole family could listen to, or get in the car and listen to the public radio there. That's what you had to do. And your favorite song wouldn't come on all the time. It would come on every so often, and it would be like this kind of grandiose moment of delayed gratification, even though it wasn't of your own will, where you didn't get to hear your favorite song wherever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to. But there's something profoundly powerful about that. Oh, holy cow. That's cool. I'm hoping for a skeleton one. I guess I won't know. Because they didn't add the ability for mobs to be shown in the spawners until later. What do we get? We'll always take wheat, we'll always take string, irons whatever, and we'll always take gunpowder. I'm curious though, so hold on. Oh gosh dang it! Yo, that was evil. That just made me cough up a loogie. Holy, that scared me. Okay. Wow. Anyways, we're gonna open this up. And it is a skeleton. So I'm definitely gonna do something with this. Because, my goodness. Infinite arrows, yes please. But we're gonna make another pillar. But allowing yourself to experience a period of waiting is very important. And it can be something as small as you want to watch your favorite TV show. Well, wait until you've done something. We don't want to. Myself included, dude. Like, I want to listen to my favorite song on Spotify whenever I want to. I want to, like, marry, like, a super hot girl because she's hot. Even though I don't want to put in all the effort into myself to being, like, attractive enough to do it, right? And these are commonly held things. I'm attaching myself to them, but a lot of people know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just like actually clinically insane. And I've been ranting to myself. And my 200 viewers for going by the 5th episode and how well it's done, which again, thank you guys so much. It's been, the response has been sick. I've been such a pessimist and like a pseudo philosopher in this episode, but quick praise to you guys. There's been like genuine comment interaction with people, a few repeat viewers. Prime Rabbit comes to mind. Thank you so much for all of your comments, dude. And there's a few of you other guys that unfortunately I don't remember your names, but trust me, I see the comments, I see the profile pictures, the usernames. I know who you guys are, so thank you. And how cool is it that something as low-key niche as just old Minecraft could have such like a cool little community around it? I certainly didn't think that there was going to really be anything to this. I thought it was going to be maybe like 10 to 20 views in the first episode and then like a severe drop off after that. But no, you guys have been watching. So I really appreciate it. As long as there's an interest, I will make these videos for the next week while I can. Something on the lookout that I'm going to have to do is I was charged with the task of making a 32 by 32 castle with at least a watchtower and an area to read books, like a little library section, right? I've got to do it now. Not only is that a good idea, but someone gave me a suggestion. I like the suggestion. I got to follow through. So what I'm probably going to do, and that's not going to happen for a bit, because again, there's a few things I want to do first. I want to have full diamond. I need to have enough diamond to make a block. Like, there's some stuff, right? But, ooh, this could be legit. But I'm probably going to off-screen collect a crap ton of cobble and resources, or maybe I'll do a time lapse of it, as another one of my viewers suggested. Shout out Badger Boy. Where I will collect all the resources necessary for that. It's probably going to be almost entirely cobble, to be honest. That's okay. We'll try and make it look somewhat cool. We'll try and have some depth to it, right? Try and give that watchtower some shape. But yeah, so unfortunately this was kind of a dud. Oops, I almost fell again. Not bad though, we almost got 2 stacks of coal. It's not entirely a dud. But yeah, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Obviously, people are going to have dissenting opinions on everything. But do you guys think our society's kind of overruled by instant gratification and overstimulation? Do you think that life would be better if people would kind of wait and smell the roses a little bit more? Or am I being simultaneously too much of an optimist to think that this would fix everything, and also too much of a pessimist thinking that everyone is kind of stuck in the same trap? I just kind of want to know where you guys are at. How do y'all think? How do y'all feel about this? But this has been a cool episode. Just kind of talking with what's on the mind. And getting lots of resources. Lots and lots of resources, which has been super fun, actually. I do enjoy caving a lot. And treating it as a time to just ramble, I think makes it so even things as monotonous as mining coal aren't the most difficult thing to focus on ever. But as I said, I just wanted to get some kind of video out to you guys, even if my mind and voice aren't working to their optimum. I think this is going to turn into anything. Yeah. You can try right, though. What's going on over here? Big opening. Fortunately, for the last few caves we've been in, it hasn't really resulted in much. Oh, very sharp drop down. I like the idea of that. But I also like the idea of doing that another time and leaving y'all on an evil cliffhanger. So before we check out the amazing cave, I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. Hopefully amazing cave. I'm going to cut it here. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, wherever you guys are at. And go in peace.